Hello there guys, in this lesson we will talk about arrays, what they are and how to use them. So without further ado, let's start. Now, let us first answer the question, what is an array? And the answer is pretty straightforward. An array is a list of elements of the same data type. So let us first declare an array. We will declare an array that stores integer data types. We will give it a name like array1. Then we define how many elements are in this array. In this case, let me give it 3 equal. Then inside curly braces, we define the elements of this array. For example, 1, 2, 3. Close it. And here we have an array with name array1 that has 3 elements of type integer. Now, if we want to print the content of this array, we can do something like this. Print array1. And then we give the position of the element that we want to print. Now, if we were to print like the first element, we would build it and run it, and then we get 2. Now, why do we get 2? Because the arrays start from 0, so the first element has the position 0, and continue until n minus 1. So this means that if we have 3 elements, like this, then the last element would have the position 3 minus 1, which would be 2. If we were to build it, then we would get 3, just like this. And if we want to get the first element, we would need to type 0. As you can see, we get the first element. So this is how we access elements in an array. Now we can also use a for loop here, int equal to 0, less than I plus plus. In here we would print the elements of the array with index I and line. Then we build it and run it. As you see, we get 1, 2, 3, all the elements of the array. Now, a question might come: what if we want to print an element that is out of index? Like for example, let me see 3. Then we would get just a random number because we are accessing a value in memory that doesn't store anything. It might store something, as we see here. It might not store anything, but still it doesn't make any sense to us, so we wouldn't get any information that we can use. One other thing that I want to mention here is that, as we said earlier, we can have not only char arrays, integers array, but also char arrays or double arrays, floats, shorts, and even objects arrays. I will talk about objects in later series, but just so you know, you can create a class here. We create just a simple class temp, and we can create an array of data type temp array. It can have 3 elements. We are not defining. Okay. Yeah, we're not defining any of these elements, just saying it has 3 elements. As you can see here, everything works perfectly. We've got the temp data type, which is a user-defined data type, and we also have 3 elements. Now, one thing I forgot to say is that we don't necessarily need to write the elements straight away. We can define them later. For example, something like this, like array with index 0 is equal to, in this case, new temp. But we can also do it something like this. For example, we've got, let me just delete the temp here and just go back to integers. We've got an array of integers and we say it has elements 1, 2, 3. Now the array knows by itself that the value here is 3. Okay, so we didn't need to type 3 here. Okay, we can also type it. It doesn't make any difference, but just so you know that it's not a problem if you forget to write the number right here. If we don't have these numbers here, so if we just leave it like this, delete this one. If we leave it like this, then we would actually have an error because we don't know how many elements are in this array, and we are not declaring the elements in this array. So this is actually a problem. We can't write code like this. We need to either define how many elements or define the elements in this array. So this was basically everything for the arrays, guys. I hope you understood everything. So see you next time.